In 1861, the American Civil War broke loose. Americans were torn against each other, into the Union and the Confederacy, because of the South wanting to start their own country. It was America's bloodiest war. Even though the Civil War was almost 100 years after the American Revolution, medicine hadn't really changed much because of the doctors' failure to acknowledge the importance of sterile and clean surroundings.
Disease was the number one killer in the war. For every soldier who died in battle, 2 died of disease. The most common fatal diseases were dysentery and diarrhea. The lack of sterile equipment wasn't the only cause of diseases. Other things that caused disease were inadequate physical examination of recruits, ignorance, the rural origin of many soldiers, neglect of camp hygiene, insects and vermin, exposure, lack of clothing and shoes, and poor food and water.
Furthermore, anesthesia was introduced in 1846 and was a big part of the war. The most common anesthesia was chloroform. It was used in 75% of surgeries during the war. Doctors would give anesthesia to patients by covering their mouths with cloths soaked in chemical.
During the war, most patients were treated in makeshift hospitals from houses, churches, schools, and even barns. To find a real hospital, the field hospitals were marked with a yellow flag with a green H on it.
The doctors and surgeons during the war were unlikely the ones you'd find today. Doctors generally went through only 2 years of medicine school before treating patients. Furthermore, most surgeons never had treated a gunshot wound and had never performed a surgery. It is remarkable that anybody survived surgery during this war.
There was also a big divide between the Union and the Confederacy involving medicine. The Union had 10,000 surgeons compared to the Confederacy's 4,000. It is safe to say that the Confederacy had a bigger problem with the mass amounts of injuries during this war.
When the Civil War broke out, both sides of the country were not ready with the correct medical techniques to prevent the mass amounts of death.